Hello, everybody, and welcome to another edition of the Green Room Podcast. I'm Matthew Brune, and joining me for this post-game podcast of North Texas and Memphis is Colin Mitchell.
Yeah.
Colin, do you wear shoes when you do this podcast?
No, I don't. Do you?
Yeah, I do.
What?
I don't know. I have to. I don't have to wear shoes when I do podcasts,
You
but
just woke up
yeah, I know.
and you
But
threw shoes on for this podcast?
I have shoes.
What kind
They're
of
like
shoes you got on?
slippers. They're like slippers. They're my Nike Roshis that I've had since
Th-
forever.
Those are like slippers.
Yeah, they're like slippers.
No, those are shoes.
No, I've had them for like 5 years. They're slippers at this point. Very loose, and you just throw them
Mm,
on to make it
yeah.
feel like you're working. When you work from home, Colin, which I know you know, you gotta change it up sometimes.
I'm barefoot right now, dude. I don't know what you want from me.
Okay. Okay. All right.
I
Glad we
can't
got that
believe I
clarified.
can't believe you woke up like 20 minutes ago and threw some shoes on to do this
I mean, I put on
podcast.
a nice shirt, some socks, some shoes, and
But why the shoes when you leaving?
ready to go. I'm ready. I'm just ready to go. It
All
helps me
right.
get in the right mind state, Colin. That's it.
All right, you got your ready to go shoes on. All right, I'm ready to
Yes.
go.
Ready to go shoes. All right, Colin. North Texas and Memphis.
Yep.
Um, I don't remember our predictions. I'll pull them up at some point.
I
But
won, but it was because of the I prices righted you. So I'd be willing to just push this because I prices righted you. I kind of feel bad.
no, it's okay.
All right. Well, I won
I'm
because I
just-
said 44, 24, and you said 37-24, so or something
Yeah.
like that. Yeah.
Okay. So you're right. But this game went about how I expected it to go. And again, I don't want to recap this game, but basically, North Texas came out and did the thing that we said they were going to do, and they were going to show up in the
Yeah.
first quarter,
Yeah.
first half, even I'd say to a degree. And they end up going into half down 20-13 after leading 10-6 at the end of the first quarter, and it felt like the dam was going to break. The game went exactly how I think we expected it to go. North
Yeah.
Texas showed some fight. Memphis is the better team. North Texas played significantly better defensively for the most part, I'd say. And then Austinani did what Austinani does, and the offense just kind of crumbles, and they end up losing by double digits.
Yeah.
They end up covering though, but at the end of the day, there was nothing groundbreaking, I don't think, from this game as far as how it played out. It's just the same old, same old.
I think this is the first loss where I would blame Austin Ani for the loss because they were in the game, and I would say from my eyes playing better than Memphis for the most part of that first half, and then at the end of the second half, or sorry, end of the first half, he overthrows uh Jair Shorter in the end zone. He kind of underthrows Tommy Bush, later in that first half. And then like you said, you kind of start to see the wheels fall off a little bit because I thought that he played really well. I thought he was outplaying Seth completely during that first half. And then you start to see the couple missed throws. And then it ends up going to the second half where you get the two pick sixes. Obviously, one of them I thought was, or the first one I think was in the first half, actually. I
No, the
don't
first
remember.
one, first one was second half. I thought.
Regardless, I
Was
thought
the
that one was
second.
fluky anyways. Um,
Yeah, no,
so
it was the first. It was right at the beginning of the second half.
yeah, okay. But I thought that first one was fluky anyways. So, but then you have the other one that was a pretty bad throw. He's trying to roll outside and he's thrown at the sideline. So there was a lot of things where I would be like, okay, I would say this loss is on Austin Ronnie.
That feels tough because I don't think he played bad outside of the turnovers.
Well, I
Um,
mean, I mean, he played as we expected him
he
to,
plays as we expected him to play. I mean, he
but
literally completed 27 to 49 passes, which is what 56%,
yeah, but
55%.
but if you're only able to run 102 yards with your four running backs,
That's the bigger thing to me is it feels like Seth is trying to have a little bit of a revelation here in the middle of the season. He's trying to
a Tia high,
change.
let it fly
Yeah, he's trying to go
revelation.
back to what they were. And we saw it
What
last
they
week
were they ever that?
with Mason Fine.
That's
With
true.
Mason Fine, yes, to a degree. Um, Also only threw the ball 49 times, man. And I
Yeah,
know they got down in the second half, so yeah, he was throwing it more. But even in the first half, it felt like a lot was on Austin's plate. Like I don't know if it's the offensive line, I don't know if it's schematics, but they are not looking to ground and pound the way that they did against UTEP, against, Texas Southern, I guess, to a degree. Um, it feels like the past couple games they've been shifting towards this passing offense, and, well, I mean, that's okay, it just doesn't feel like it's the strength of this team.
Yeah.
It feels like this team needs to be what they were last year at the end of the year, where it's like, "All right, we're gonna run the ball to death and then try to get some stops."
It's
Now it's
interesting.
like
Sorry.
Austin Auni's throwing for 371 yards, and so,
Yeah.
yeah, he's gonna throw a couple picks, and unfortunately, they were returned for pick sixes. The first one, I agree, I don't think that was completely on him, he was trying to make a throw on 3rd and 3, and it bounces up, and it's
Yeah.
picked. It's like, "Okay, whatever." The second one was more so on him, not good, but, like, those 2 and then the bad snap inside the 10 that cost you
Fumble.
points. Was
Yeah.
it was I don't remember exactly, because I was watching at the LSU game, but it was a bad snap, right? Or it wasn't a
I'm pretty
bad.
sure it was about snap. I mean, it was. I mean, regardless, it's a fumble inside the
Yeah,
15-yard line, so or
yeah,
whatever it
inside,
was.
yeah.
So
So, all that being said, offensively, it was weird for me. That's my main takeaway is it feels
yeah,
like is trying to, like, run back the clock a little bit with
right. And I just
this
pulled
team.
up some stats over here on the left. So during against UTEP, Austin threw 16 for 29 for 236, and they ran the ball 41 times for 163 yards. But then in the losses, even against so they get blown out against SMU, they still ran it 47 times for 202 yards. Only had Austin throw 34 times, and then against UNLV, again a blowout loss, they ran it 39 times still, and Austin only threw 29 times. And then you go to North Texas, Memphis. Yeah, they score a little bit
Yeah,
more points, but Austin throws 20 more times, basically 50 throws, like you said, and then
yeah.
they only run the ball 30 times for 102
Yeah,
yards.
and it could have obviously been, Memphis's defensive approach. I thought he threw it more against UNLV, I don't know, so I was misled on that.
Yeah,
But, yeah, it could have easily been Memphis's, defense forcing Austin Aune to beat them, which is the right thing to do against North Texas. It was just a little it was weird, that's all I'll say on that is was Austin Aune dropping back, throw the ball 50 times was, something
did you
that I
like it
was
or did you not like it?
I didn't like it.
Okay,
No, not a big fan, not a
I
big
liked it
fan of
at
that.
first. I don't know. It
So
felt good
last thing
until
about this, that felt good.
yeah. Sorry.
The last thing I'll say about this offense is they have all this, talent, and with Jair Shorter and Tommy Bush and
Yeah,
Jake Roberts and Varkees Gums, I'll even throw in there now that he's getting significant snaps because he was a highly rated guy coming out of high school. Jamori Macklin, transfer from Missouri. All these guys and Jordan Smart led them in receptions, Colin. You know who that is?
I
Because
had
I
no
didn't
idea.
know who
I,
that
I was
was.
looking at that and I had no idea who that was.
Yeah, Jordan Smart led them in receptions,
No,
transferred from.
let them in yards. Roger Brent still had 6.
You're right, led them in yards, sorry.
Yeah.
5 receptions for 82 yards. Rod Burns did have 6 catches for 58 yards. Jordan Smart was getting a lot of touches, and I was like,
Who is this?
"Okay." So that was first, but then the second thing is they kept trying to get the ball to Kalen Horton, and I know Kalen Horton is very,
Yeah,
fast, explosive,
the end
kick
around
returner type
confused me.
guy. They did the end around type thing to him. Um, they kept, trying to get him the ball, and I was like, "Okay, you're trying to get the ball to Kalen Horton and Jordan Smart." Jordan Smart's transfer from Charlton. Kalen Horton, I don't even know his full backstory. I don't remember if he's a walk on or if he's a low transfer. Okay, no, I'm sorry. Kalen Horton's the transfer from Charlton State, and Jordan Smart is transfer from UT Permian Basin, so probably a walk on at this point. That's who you're trying to get the ball to instead of, you know, Jay Macklin and guys like that. And so I'm like, this is year 7. We shouldn't be having to rely on guys from UT
That's
Permian
true.
Basin and Tarleton.
Especially when
So
you have a deep receiving core like they have. It's not even like you have 1 or 2 guys. I mean, I'd consider outside of Rod Burns, I'd probably consider everyone else basically the same level, just in terms of what they've been able to give the last few seasons. So,
yeah, and I don't have a problem spreading the ball around like that. That's fine. Like they
oh
had
yeah,
a ton of guys get a reception in this game. Like that's cool. But it just was Jordan Smart, Jordan Smart, Jordan Smart, 5 times for 82 yards, and I was just like, wow, okay. Tommy Bush ends the game with 1 reception for
yeah,
16 yards, and I know they're different type of players, but Again, 1 reception, 2 receptions for Damon Ward, 2 receptions for Jair Shorter, three for Jamori Macklin. So that was just stood out. I don't want to say it was a bad thing per se because he did his job, but at some point, this gets into what we talked about last year, where it's like Rod Burns led the team in receptions last year, and he was a walk on. So you have Rod Burns, former walk on, Jordan Smart, Tarleton, or I'm sorry, UT Permian Basin, and then Kalen Horton uh, from Tarleton. So at the end of the day, is it really about talent when evaluating this offense? I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. It feels like it's more about coaching. When I don't think they were terrible offensively, and I thought they had some really actually nice drives. I was actually impressed on a couple of occasions. I think the touchdown in the third quarter was really good. I think
Yeah,
the
I like
field
that
goal
touchdown.
field goal at the end of the second half I thought was a really good drive. So they have moments. They have moments, but you know it's not enough to win this game. And I thought they played well, and they still lost the game. So defensively, um, what can you say? I thought they
I
played
did
well. Again, I'll be a broken record here. I think everybody played well. I thought the defense was fine.
I didn't think you'd come in here and say they'd play well in a 44 when they give up 44 points.
Well, they didn't give up 44 points. Austin Aune threw the ball to the other
Which is
team
fair.
twice, so that's
Yeah,
14. And
that's
then
true.
I
That's true.
believe it was a touchdown off of the fumble in the fourth. Am I wrong on that? Let's
Yes,
see.
they ran that in. That was
Yeah,
Brandon Thomas's second touchdown.
yeah.
Um,
So
I would say they played
that's
well in
21
the pass
points.
game, but I did not like the rushing defense. I felt like they got ran over. Especially if even though they're goal line, whatever. A couple instances, I guess on those two touchdowns especially, it just looked like Brandon Thomas for Memphis just kind of walked. Like he didn't even have to. There was no resistance. It felt like. So I thought their rushing defense was not great. And then Seth Hennigan still runs for 54 yards. There was a couple times when he got outside the pocket, and I was like, why aren't you stopping this guy? Um, and I think that they could have capitalized a lot more. Yeah, you said defense obviously came up big and got him a lot of points. We can call it 21 points if you want, but
Yeah, I do. I
I
want to
I,
call it 21.
I feel like on a day that you have Seth Hennigan throw for 141 yards and you pick him off, I feel like there has to be you have to get more from that. So yeah, Memphis
Good
got
point.
21 points from those turnovers, but where is North Texas's points from making Seth do his thing and then turn making the ball turnover? So
Yeah, I think I get what you're saying. It's
yeah,
when you hold a quarterback like Seth Hennigan, who had been throwing the ball for 300 something yards to 141.
yeah,
You should be in a better position because again, let's say 21 points are from the offense, right? Well, that still leaves 23 points defensively that you've allowed, and obviously there was a missed extra point in there as well, so 23, 24 points, whatever you want to call it. Um, yeah, you should be able to get more stops out of it. I think the run defense was very lax at times. I do want
hmm
to shout out Cam Robertson and Jordan Brown, two young guys.
yeah.
Uh, is Jordan Brown his the second or third year?
I feel like
Regardless,
it's third because of COVID year.
yeah,
Yeah,
whatever.
let me look.
I'm looking it up now. I think you're right.
Sophomore, he's a sophomore.
Yeah, but
Yeah,
I'm looking to see if the COVID counts.
yeah,
Yeah, see,
three
it is
years.
year three. Yeah, year three, which is crazy because I remember when he was a freshman, I was talking about him and being like, "Yo, this guy can play. They're gonna
Yeah,
have to get him in." And then last year, nothing really came of it. This year, I'm saying the same thing. This guy can clearly play. I don't know why he's not on the field more. And then Cam Robertson can clearly play. Again, there's a reason they were highly rated coming out of high school.
yeah,
Like this
yeah,
isn't a fluke. Okay, Cam Robertson can play as a freshman. Jordan Brown can play. Like that guy was good out of high school. So I'd like to see them get more. Anybody who says anything about the depth of this defense or the talent on this defense, I think is incorrect because you look at these guys and these guys were coming off the bench and they
yeah.
played because Tom Tree didn't play, so that forced Robertson in there. So yeah, I think the defense is talented enough to be good. Again, they defended the pass well. I don't think that it was their fault for losing this game. I'll say
Yeah.
that.
Um,
It really just
but-
comes down to those turnovers.
no, it really does. It's just, I guess I'm just nitpicking.
Like I don't know if they again to say that they would win without those turnovers is tough because the last touchdown North Texas scored was so garbage time. Even the second to last touchdown they scored when they were down 20-41 or 20-40, whatever it
Yeah.
was basically garbage time. Even though there's 10 minutes left in the game, like you have two touchdowns in the fourth quarter where the game was basically over.
Yeah.
But still, if you don't turn those balls over, I don't know how the
Yeah.
game
Who
plays
knows how
out.
it could have played out?
Yeah, the game script goes differently. So I don't know, but um, yeah, that's all from the game.
You
I
want
think.
to you want to know who I really love on defense?
Who?
Bryce Drummond, one tackle. Yep.
Shout out the boy.
Shout out
Shout out the
Lorenzo
boy
Thompson
Bryce
too. You know,
Lorenzo. Um, there was a great quickly. We don't have to spend too long on this, but there. Do you feel like this roster is too young or too old?
I
Do
don't
you feel
think
like it's
too
too
old
young?
and I don't feel like too old in college football is a bad thing. I think that's a great thing. I don't think it's too young because I feel like we've been saying the roster's been young. I feel like during COVID, that was the year when we could do the this roster is young, but they had
Yeah,
the COVID just because they say sophomore. It's basically you're playing juniors at this point if they played in 2020. So I mean, like you go down the list right on defense. Katie Davis, super senior. Jordan Brown, third year. Larry Nixon, I feel like I've been talking about him forever. Quinn Whitlock,
talking about him
he's
forever too.
4 year. Yeah, he Deshaun Gaddy, 2020 again. Who else is on here? Rich Tejada, I've seen him before for
Yeah.
forever. Roger Brown. I mean, you go down the list. I mean, all these are not new names. The new names you see on here are Sifa Leota,
Yeah, they're
Laurent.
not relying on, and this is my whole thing is they're not relying on. Even though last year or last game I did just shout out to Cam Robertson for his performance. They're not relying on freshmen here.
Oh
They're
yeah,
not even
no, they're
relying on
not.
second year guys for the most part. So
Yeah,
um,
these guys have been here 3 years, but they're just sophomores.
very very low on excuses defensively or offensively for me. So
Well, that's the thing we've been talking about all year, right? Like you get all this talent. We say that you get the talent in 2020. You have COVID year, and then we say injuries last year, and that's not necessarily on the defensive end. And then you go in this year, you have everybody, and you're still same mistakes, same issues. Um, so no, I wouldn't say this team's young. I would say
yeah,
that the team should be playing. This should be the year where you're like, okay, stuff should be. If it hadn't already, this should be where should be coming
yeah,
together.
year
Yeah.
seven should
Well,
have it.
no, I meant for the guys, but yeah,
Yeah, I know what you mean.
yeah.
Um, okay, well, this doesn't change our outlook on the season at all
In what sense? Just in
on
terms of
how good
and
they're going to be.
I mean, no, because they still turn the ball over. And it's still like why does that not happen against UTSA? Why does it not happen against UAB? Why does it not happen against Western? Um, I mean, I wouldn't say Memphis's defense is crazy better than all those teams, if better at all.
Yeah,
So
I said last podcast I didn't think Memphis was that good.
yeah, so I mean, if they're gonna keep throwing the ball like that, you better hope Austinani gets better because
It's a great
obviously you
point.
had to have seen something in him. Now, if you run the ball, then maybe, who knows? But you still have to force the turnovers. You have to have a defense that holds other quarterbacks to 149 yards that are supposed to be good. Now, who knows? Seth could have just had a bad game because I thought he looked not. I mean, I thought he looked awful for being
Yeah,
honest.
no,
Um,
he did.
so it comes down to those things. I mean, like especially against UTSA, you play Frank Harris, who's now coming into his own, and UTSA gave Texas a game 2 weeks ago. I mean, you're still playing teams. You're not taking a step down when you play Conference USA right now in terms of three of the games on the schedule. So
Well, hey, Middle Tennessee just beat Miami,
I
so
saw that, and there was another one too that was close. I don't remember, but yeah,
um, Rice, Rice lost to Houston by a touchdown as well.
I think that's what it was. I think that's what I
Yeah,
saw.
yeah,
So I mean, yeah, the outlook is you still have to win games in conference, and can they do that? Especially now with passing, I think you lower your floor. Sure, you raise your ceiling, but you
yes.
lower your floor for sure.
That I think you worded it really well. In that, if this is what you're gonna do, and if this is what teams are gonna force you to do, you have to hope Austin doesn't throw these picks
Yeah,
or make these mistakes because that's what Austin can do at times. Like you said, the floor is lower, ceiling's higher. I think when you are slinging the ball around, it was a lot easier last year, and I think against UTEP showed it as well. if you can just run the ball down people's throats, I think that's what Seth and them would prefer to do with this running back group and this offensive line. But I think defenses would be smart to kind of take away load the box, try to stop the run, and then force Ani to beat them.
Not
So
for nothing on that too. Obviously, when you don't run the ball, defense stays on the field more. And for a defense that's already not that great, you tire them out. Who knows what can happen? So
yeah, overall, I thought it was a decent performance from North Texas, even
yeah,
though they were down 3 touchdowns in the fourth quarter.
yeah. I saw it was like 40. It was like some 40 to like 20 something. I was like, that was just a huge awe moment.
Three
Do
touchdowns. So
you
I
want to
don't. Go ahead.
quickly run through our pick'em before we finish up?
Sure. Let me get it.
I price is righted him. Sad.
Seth Hennigan passing yards. I said over. You said under. You were correct. Ayoadai carries. We both said over. Both incorrect. Memphis minus 17.5. I said under. You said over. I was right. So that's 1-1.
Sad.
And then the score, you were right. 44-24. Congratulations.
Sorry, I won't price this right you next time.
No, it's okay. It's okay. Sure. So you are now winning again. 12-11. I feel like I left one out of there too, but whatever.
Oh, you did. It was I think it was Rod Burns receptions, but I don't remember what it was.
We'll go back and listen to the last podcast.
Yeah.
We'll go back and listen to it. We'll do our homework. All right, that's all we have. 20-minute episode. Not bad.
We'll have an FAU podcast later in the week, Thursday again, I guess.
Sure.
I mean, unless you don't want to. I don't know.
We'll see. We'll see how we're feeling. We're still feeling. But yeah, that's all we got. Thank y'all for joining us, and we'll talk to y'all later.